My name is Mary Gastonguay, and I live on Cape Cod. When I think of stories worth telling, I come back to my mother, who is always telling me stories about her mom, how tough she was, how independent she was, and how patient she was. I never met my grandmother. She passed when my mother was only 18. All I know of her comes from the stories my mother has told me.
What date was I adopted? I was adopted when I was 10 days old, and then the adoption became final the July after, when I was about a year and a couple of months old. My mother was a sweet woman, a strong woman. She was set in her ways and very stubborn. She was the smartest woman I ever met, most understanding, most forgiving. Unfortunately, I didn't realize till after she had passed away that she was my best friend, and I never knew it. So who was my mother? My mother was the best thing that ever happened to me. How did my mother die? When she was married to my father, she was going to nursing school, and unfortunately one of the patients pricked her with a needle and she caught hepatitis C, and over the years it affected her liver to the point where she ended up getting liver cancer, which turned into blood cancer, and it ended up killing her. The relationship with my mom was like a roller coaster. You know, we had our good times, our bad times, ups and downs. When I was younger, I was very angry, so I didn't treat my mother as well as I should have. And as I got older, I realized that to appreciate her more, and started to treat her a little better, and we became better friends, and the relationship became a lot better. Best memory is not so much one memory, it's a thing. The best thing that I remember about my mom is that she always used to bust into my room and sit on my bed and ask me what I was doing. And I always used to say, you know, leave the room, get out of the room, and she'd bounce on the bed. She was a large woman, and she'd always want to be all up in what I was doing. What are you doing? Who are you talking to? What are you da-da-da-da-da? So I miss that, and that's the best memory. The worst memory is the day she died. How I treated her would be the one thing that the main thing that I would change as far as anything to do with the relationship with my mother, is how I treated her. The second thing I would change would be how I conducted myself as a person. Knowing what I know now, I mean, unfortunately, I'm going to have to answer it the way I would answer the question. I would kick it out of myself for the way I was. I would tell myself, do you have any idea what you're wasting? Do you have any idea what you're losing? I would tell myself, do you have any idea how many bells you've rung and you can never unring them? And basically just tell myself to wake up. I would tell myself to respect myself a little more. I would tell myself to wake up and see what I'm doing. I would be very disappointed in myself and tell myself that. And just make sure that I knew what I was missing. If my mom, if my mom walked up, came to me right now, the first thing she would probably do was slap me across the face. Straight up, just like she always would. Then I think she'd give me a big hug and say, I'm proud of you. Because I've spent my life making her, trying to make her proud. Everything I do, I think of what would my mom think, what would she do, how, you know, I even talk to her. I don't always do what I think she would do. I don't always take her advice. You know, what would my mother do? She wouldn't want me to do this, and then I still do it. But every decision I've made always has something to do with her. So I've spent my life trying to make her proud, trying to not disappoint the person I come out, you know what I mean? Who I turn out to be. Because I want to pass on what she gave me to you. So I got to do it right, because she did it right. And then you're going to do it right. And then your kids, and so on and so on.
I never met my grandma, but from her daughter, I have learned that you can never take your parents for granted, because you never know how much time you'll have left with them. My mother has already survived lung cancer, and with this video, I would like to say to her what she's never gotten to say to her own mom. I love you, Mom, and thank you.